Welcome back to the Starting Four podcast. Today we're going over week four of college football, some big storylines, and also our pick'ems for the week.
So, first storyline is Lagway throwing 5 picks against LSU. The game was decent, 10-point game, I'm pretty sure, 20 to 10. LSU coming out on top. LSU's defense looked amazing. Getting 5 picks against Lagway. Lagway just threw up 5 bad balls and it came down LSU's way. The offense of LSU didn't look so good, so there is a silver lining in that. But LSU defense gets it done. How do you feel about Lagway in the future with this 5 picks against this SEC team?
Yeah, that was a chance with the lackluster LSU offense. That was a chance to go ahead and get a win there and beat that number three school. You can't throw 5 picks and expect to win a game, and even being in a, even only losing by 10 after throwing 5 picks is pretty remarkable.
Definitely.
Um, I don't really know what the future for Lagway holds. That's a pretty
Yeah.
brutal game. Brian Kelly he needs to get checked. Like that's a reasonable question. Your offense
Oh,
didn't look. I don't care if you won. Like you shouldn't be happy with how y'all played.
yeah. And going off of like Dan Lanning's press conference, he's all we win 34 to 14 and he's like I think we didn't look good in the fourth quarter. We needed a better run game. Like he tells you what they need to work on. Like, yeah, you won the game and someone asked you a question about how bad your offense was, and you can't just respond with a stupid remark. I think it was so uncalled for Brian
Yeah,
King.
it was
And it's just
disgusting.
not the first one. He's
Yeah,
done
he's a very not likable guy.
Yeah, yeah, I see it. It's he's stressed out because he's the last couple of years at LSU, he's hasn't lived up to the standard of making the SEC championship and all that. So, but it's a lot of stress that he's like, I need to win, keep on winning these games. But it was so uncalled for in the press conference after the 2010 win. So, next on the headlines were the two head coaches that got fired, UCLA, Deshaun Foster, and Virginia Tech, Brent Pry. Don't know a lot about Virginia Tech's situation. I know they've lost 2 games or two games against Vanderbilt and South Carolina this year, but those losses, like they're SEC opponents, so I'm not surprised they lost. No one had them winning those games. And then Deshaun Foster, he's looked last year he wasn't the best. I think they maybe went 500, but once they acquired Nico in the transfer portal this year, they thought it was going to be a little bit better. Didn't think it was, and it shows. 0-3, lost to 3 brutal teams that should not be beating them, and UNLV, I'm pretty sure, New Mexico, and some other team. So. Where do you think the programs go from there, and how do you feel about the firing of those coaches?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with the Virginia Tech thing. I don't know what they were necessarily expecting. Though I don't know what their goal. Obviously, your goal is to make the playoffs and win a national championship. Being Virginia Tech, I don't know how reasonable that is. So I'm not quite sure what their expectations were for their head coach. That being said, Deshaun Foster, I mean, you get a guy that's supposed to be good, and I know he hasn't been living up to the hype. You already had a rough season last year, going I think 5-7.
Mhm.
To start the season off 0-3 and losing to New Mexico and UNLV. Utah's an acceptable loss. They're a very solid team. I think a team that could honestly win the Big 12 this year. But yeah, you have like I don't think I mean they need to start looking at other Q. I don't know what their QB room looks like. But you got to start putting pressure on Nico to perform better. And the coach, yeah, you have to fire him after going 0-3. You didn't come to UCLA. I mean, a typically solid school with doing 8 to 9 wins a season prior. Going 5-7 and starting off 0-3, that's not acceptable, and I don't think they're going to stand for that. So I understand why they fired him.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like UCLA will find a decent head coach in the following weeks or next year, just due to their location and probably NIL is up there with the top 25 schools. So I feel like it's not the worst situation in UCLA, and they just need to find a head coach, develop players, and get back to the UCLA way where they compete with USC and Oregon for commits and
Yeah, it's
games.
just
Virginia
Jeff.
Tech, on the other hand, I don't know their NIL situation. I don't know who they can get for a head coach next year, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
UCLA is gonna have to take this season off. Just put it in the past. Like I'd already write this season off, put it in the past, and not as a fan, just kind of understand that like it can only get better from here.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
like it sucks this year, but like I wasn't very high on them at all throughout the off season. So it's like I wasn't expecting much, wasn't expecting this, but like as a fan, you knew you weren't really going to contend for anything this year. Just hope to hit the portal hard and recruit hard and hopefully get a good pickup and then look on the next year.
definitely. Next, A&M wins in South Bend in a thriller coming down to the last play, basically, and fourth and goal on the 12-yard line. I know there are people talking about the holding call that should have been called on the last play, was not. So A&M wins it. I think it was a great game. A lot of penalties on both sides. A&M had, I think, 10 plus, and a lot of them were on the last couple drives getting false starts. But Mario Craver, he is a stud. He has looked really good this season. Um, and he wasn't even the star transfer portal ad from them. It was more of the Casey Concepcion ad. But I think both of those wide receivers have made Marcel Reed look a lot better than he probably is passing the ball. A&M looks good. Their defense is all right. Didn't allow 30 plus points in this game, but they looked good and they can do something this year. But how do you feel about the game?
Oh yeah, great game. Definitely the marquee matchup of the week. Still not bought in on A&M just simply because it's led by Marcel Reed. And just looking at his stats, I mean, he went 17 for 37. Yeah, he had 360 yards, but you can't be having 20 incompletions, only two touchdowns and one interception. Um, it's just I don't know. I they obviously and then I can't believe Notre Dame, honestly, I can't believe they lost. Um, Let me go ahead and I need to pull this up. Who's their DJ Carr is their quarterback?
Yeah,
They still have a very
or CJ Carr. It's one of the two.
DJ Carr, I
Yeah,
think. Let me where is it? I can't CJ Carr, yeah. I still hate that they still struggle to pass the ball, I feel like as a team. They
definitely.
still and I think they have to adapt to a at least more not necessarily pass heavy, but I hate watching them play when th're running the ball three times on those first three downs. It's just
Definitely.
they rely a lot on the run, and I think when you have a soul, like it works sometimes when that's your sole way and you're known for moving the ball on the run. When you eliminate that as a team, I feel like you start to see a little more success. Even though I don't know if necessarily A&M eliminated that completely, it was more of just I think they need. I don't know. I don't think they're. You can't make the playoffs at this point. Being them, they don't have a hard enough schedule, and they don't have a conference. So
Yeah, it's
the
it, they
season's
don't,
over.
it is really over for them. And putting on the passing game, like their wide receivers are not bad either. Like Malachi Fields transfer from Virginia, 6'4", looked good in the game, and then they have Jordan Faison and Jaden Greathouse. Like they have good wide receivers. They can throw the ball and get open. And their tight end is pretty good as well. He had made a couple catches last game. But yeah, Notre Dame, I think their season is done. Like there's no competition, no resume building win they can have in the future. So
I
it,
believe it was actually early in the game when Marcel Reed threw his pick. And I don't think they got to the like first and goal, and it was just they ran the ball three times and had to settle for a field goal. And I was getting so annoyed because A&M started to shut down that run.
yeah,
And The defensive line was getting through all like I that drive, the defensive line was busting through on runs, and I was just like, please pass the ball. Like I just wanted them to pass the ball, and they just wouldn't.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next, what we have a question. Where does Clemson go from here? After after going 1-2 this first 3 weeks, losing to Georgia Tech, ACC opponent, and also LSU, their offense has looked awful. So, where do you think Clemson goes from here?
Um, you got to win out pretty much and make that ACC championship and win. If you don't win the ACC championship, I don't think you get into the playoffs. Um, if you miss the playoffs this year, Dabo has to be on the hot seat simply because he's not adapting to the new way of college football and wanting to keep his players within, which I respect. It's just not
Yeah.
it's not what everyone else is doing, and it's not sustainable when people are paying the best athletes from every school in the country just to come. Um, and Kate Klubnik is not the truth. This is what I said at the beginning of the season. He's looked very rough. He's had a lot of silly turnovers. Um, I was never impressed with this play. I was never impressed with Dabo. And I think it's showing a lot this season with especially how teams are building their rosters now.
Oh, definitely. And there's a couple of plays I watched and I saw and Cade didn't look bad like in those plays, but it's like he feels it's kind of like Arch Manning. It's just uncomfortable. Timing's weird. And he's not able to do what he needs to do to excel. And it's just like I feel like he's so close and stressed not losing, it hurts him in the long run. And so yeah, I Clemson has a they still can make the ACC championship, but it's a long road with this first loss to Georgia Tech and um with Miami and Florida State looking good. It could be a first time. I don't think it's the first time they missed the playoffs, but they've made the playoffs quite a bit since the playoffs started, and it could be one of the first times they miss it, and at least in a 12 team playoff. Next, Vandy blows out South Carolina and wins and looks good against the SEC opponent. And South Carolina team, yeah, it's looked shaky the first couple of weeks, but everybody had them high with the Norris Sellers and their offense being so elite. But they've looked shaky, and also Lenore's got Sellers got taken out of the game in the first half. So once he got taken out, South Carolina had no shot. Um, what do you think about Vandy, and do you think they can compete in the SEC this year?
I definitely think they can compete. I don't necessarily think they're gonna make a push for a title shot, but I think they're a good competition for most teams. Obviously, like you said, Lenore Sellers is going out with 2 minutes left in the half. It was only a 7 point game at that point, and then we saw no offense out of Vandy. I think I did even mention last week that maybe it was. Oh no, I think that was the Clemson game, which ended up turning true. Um, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I mean, Vandy's going to compete. I think this really hurts South Carolina because it's an SEC opponent and you lost. How is it concussion related?
I think
Lenore,
the concussion.
so he's probably going to miss at least one more week.
Mm,
So, I mean, you might have just seen the end of y'all's season, their season. It
yeah,
could be if who do they if depending on who they play next week. Okay, see, yeah, you're gonna go play Missouri, very solid team. If Lenore Sellers isn't back, you've lost 2 games in the SEC now.
yeah.
Then likely you're not playing for a SEC championship and your season's over,
Oh, definitely, definitely.
which sucks because I feel like it's a different game. Maybe not, they don't win, but it's definitely a different game if Lenoris doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. And then lastly, one of the best games this week was Georgia coming back against Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. I I thought Tennessee had this, and Tennessee could have if they just made a 40 plus yard field goal to win it going into the fourth or at the end of the fourth quarter. Kicker missed it, sent it to overtime, and I kind of knew Georgia was going to win. It was pretty done deal after when they went to overtime, how they came back. Momentum was on their side. How do you feel about this game, and do you think both of these teams can make an SEC championship? How they look?
Yeah, it was a very good game. Obviously, it came down to one kick for Tennessee that didn't go their way. Both look very solid, and I definitely think there's a possibility that could be an SEC championship game right there.
Mhm.
Both look like they're at the top of the conference. Um, I guess your top three right now are those two and A&M.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I think it's very with A&M, you know, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
Hmm.
So until they're in that SEC championship game, I have a hard time putting a lot of faith in them. So I still think they're going to lose a game they shouldn't in the SEC to a lower opponent. I definitely think, and with Texas, how they're playing right now, I definitely think that could be a rematch in the SEC championship.
I could also see OU. I don't know how
That's true.
their
That's true.
schedule is looking like in the future. I know they play Texas, but with Texas not looking so hot,
Be the
it
they,
could. So, okay. Now we're getting into the week 4 college picks. Stats for this last week. Taylor goes 3 for 6, and me going 1 for 6 was not a good week for me. If you look at it, special teams killed me in 3 of those games. So I need to get back on the horse all time. Tabor is 12 for 20, and I am 8 for 20. So I am below 500. I need to get that record back up there and get it be a little bit reasonable. So first on the slate, we got one of the best games I think this week. Number 17 Texas Tech versus number 16 Utah in Utah. Both teams have looked great so far, not played the best competition. Um, and Texas Tech's played Oregon State and other lower teams, but Utah has played UCLA, and that's really it. I'm a big fan of Utah QB Devin Dampier. He's looked really good, and he's in our top 5 Heisman watches right now. But Tech has their QB, Morton. He is killing it. Um, and their defenses look really good. I've got Utah winning this game at home. I know Utah's stadium is really hard to win. They have really good home field advantage. I think Utah wins this in this Big 12 matchup.
I'm sticking to my home team. Graduated a Red Raider, got to stick with the Red Raiders. Um, in previous years, when we thought we were good, even though we're playing lower end teams these first 3 weeks, they weren't 40, 50 point wins like they have been this year. They were two possession wins or losing to Wyoming 2 years ago on our season opener. It feels like they're a more put together team. They're winning games that they should be, and not just winning them, but exceeding like spreads and stuff. So I'm going to go with Texas Tech, but either way, I think this could very well be the Big 12 championship game.
Hmm.
I think these two might be the best teams in the Big 12, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if we could see a rematch of this game in the Big 12 championship.
Oh, definitely. I can
I like
definitely see that with Arizona State losing and um, Kansas State not looking good. I know Iowa State has looked good. I don't know how they're going to hold up though. So we'll see. But yeah, I definitely can see this as being a rematch in the Big 12 championship. Next, we got number 22 Auburn versus number 11 Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is really good. John Mateer's looked great. Their defenses look good. They beat Michigan 2 weeks ago, and they really held their Michigan's offense to not a lot of offensive plays. And Auburn is all right. Jackson Arnold has not looked bad this year, but I think going back to OU with Jackson Dart, I think Oklahoma gets to the QB and beats Auburn.
Yeah, I don't know really much other than John Mateer. He's our favorite right now to win the Heisman. Um, I really like what OU's doing. I think this is a game that they could winning crack the top 10 and kind of re-solidify themselves as a powerhouse after the last couple years being a little shaky. So I'm going to also take OU.
Next, we got Tulane versus number 13 Ole Miss. Tulane has looked great the last couple of weeks, and Ole Miss has looked all right. They've won games. They're both 3-0, but Ole Miss has looked shaky in those wins. And with their QB, they had a really good outing from their backup QB last week. Austin Simons was out last week, and he's looked all right. I don't know who's going to be a starter this week. And I think Tulane could be scary, but I'm taking the Ole Miss Rebels. I think SEC power will just trample Tulane's O-line and all that. So I got Ole Miss winning this.
I also like Ole Miss. As solid as Tulane's at least offenses look, just looking, I haven't watched any Tulane football, just looking at their schedule. They let up 31 points against South Alabama and 27 against Duke. Defense is letting up a lot of points to all right teams. I think a team like Ole Miss, who, like you said, has just an SEC powerhouse. They have better talent than these players on both ends of the ball. So I don't think this Tulane defense is going to be able to hold back Ole Miss.
Definitely. One game I think could be really good, and I'm really hyped to see, is a 21 ranked Michigan Wolverines going against Nebraska. Nebraska's looked good the last 3 weeks. Dylan Raiola has shown out. Patrick Mahomes 2.0, all that. Um, and then Michigan looked really well last week with Bryce Underwood actually running the ball quite a bit. Um, but I think I want to believe Nebraska's hype is finally here with Matt Rule. But I think Michigan is a really good team. I think Bryce Underwood's a good QB. Yeah, he had one bad game against a good OU team, but I think Michigan gets it done this week and breaks Nebraska's run and destroys their Big Ten championship title dreams.
I think I'm going to take Nebraska. This is a game that can solidify what they've been showing these first 3 weeks, not playing the best people, but having a lot of people believe that they're a solid football team. Not an easy stadium to play in. There gets loud. Um, yeah, I like Nebraska. I like what Rule's doing. Don't necessarily like Mahomes 2.0, but if you play, if I mean, it's a good guy to be a 2.0 of, I guess.
Definitely, definitely. Next, we have Florida versus number 4 Miami. Florida's looked really bad last 2 weeks with their offense only putting up 26 points against USF and LSU, with DJ Lagway throwing 5 picks last week. Miami's looked great these last 3 games against Notre Dame, USF, and a lower tier team. I don't know who they played week 2. But with that being said, I think Miami's going to win. Miami's looked really good. I don't want them to win, or I know they're bound to lose at some point this year, but with their last couple of weeks, I think they will win and beat Florida.
Yeah, I also like Miami, and that's not even because of Florida's looked bad, Miami's looked good. It to me, it just yeah, just the better team's gonna win. My only worry for Miami is their stupid stadium. It still annoys me. Like
Mhm.
now you're playing an in-state, like it's a 5 hour drive. I'm sure you can find a flight to Miami that's not as far. But college kids for a game like this are probably going to make a 5 hour drive to go watch their team play. And when you're playing an hour away from your own, like it annoys me. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of Florida Gator love there.
Okay.
Miami just the better team. They've looked better all season, so I'm taking Miami.
Yeah, and you never know what's going to happen in these rivalry games that are in state. So we'll see. We'll see. I think we both have Miami. I think Miami's the better team so far. Last on the slate, Big Ten matchup right here with number 9 Illinois versus 19 Indiana. Indiana has looked all right against their 3 lower tier opponents. Fernando Mendoza threw a hell of a game last week, only having one incompletion or something. And then Luke Altmaier's looked good with Illinois this year. They are a hype team in the Big Ten with their experience. So with that being said, I think Illinois will beat Indiana. I think Luke Altmaier's the experience with that team. Um, I think they will win. I like Indiana, but I don't think they will have the um, same outcome as last year, making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, once again, I think I picked it because of last week. Brother-in-law, big Illinois fan. Look, they've looked very good this year, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with Illinois.
Okay, so with that being said, that's in the episode. Thanks for watching our week 4 college episode um, on the Starting Four podcast. See you later.
See ya.
Right up to fucking where's